of your videos. So, welcome to our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So, in the previous classes, we were discussing from 13th chapter, wherein Vidura, who went on pilgrimage for 35 years, having understood that Lord Krishna and all the Yadus departed from this world. He went to Vrindavan. There he met Uddhava. They spoke to each other elaborately about Lord Krishna's pastimes. Then next day morning, when Vidura wanted to hear more from Uddhava, Uddhava said that I am on my mission to go to Badrikashram. You please go to Maitreya. He can explain you more about the messages of the Supreme Lord. So Uddhava goes to Badrikashram. Vidura goes to Haridwar. He meets Maitreya Rishi there. He hears from Maitreya Rishi sufficiently. Then he comes to Hastinapur. He informed Dhritarashtra that he is still living in the palace, thinking himself as the king, at the mercy of Bhima, whom he tried to kill from the very beginning. So then Dhritarashtra understood that I need to leave. So without informing anyone, especially Yudhisthira Maharaj, next day morning, with the help of Vidura, both Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, they went to Himalayas. Next morning, when Yudhisthira Maharaj understood that the elders are not seen in the family, 3 of them are not missing, he was feeling so sad that he is feeling very bad with me because of me, my 100 sons are killed, something like that. So as Yudhisthira Maharaj thinking like that, Narada Muni came suddenly, informed him about what is going to happen, the nature of this material world, what is going to happen. He hinted that Lord Krishna is winding up his pastimes. He already wound up his pastimes. Vidura knew that, he did not inform. Narada Muni knew that, he did not inform. But he just gave a hint that continue as the king as long as Lord wants you to be the king. So then Narada Muni departed. And then what happened is being discussed in this chapter. So here clearly it is not mentioned that whether Yudhisthira Maharaj sent Arjuna to Dwaraka after Narada Muni informed him about what is going to happen to Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and what is happening in Dwaraka. Whether he has sent before only. Because Bhagavatam says that 7 months already passed. Later on we see that in a couple of verses later. Arjuna had been to Dwaraka. It's already 7 months. And 11th canon to explain that by the time Arjuna went there, Dwaraka was already submerged into the water, which Lord Krishna already predicted that 7 days it will submerge. Then he goes to Prabhas. There he makes sure that all the final rites are performed properly. Then so many things happen that will come in the next chapter. What happened in the return journey of Arjuna. So that is the time when Arjuna was in Dwaraka, overseeing all the other final customary rituals, etc. Here in Hastinapur, Yudhisthira Maharaj began to observe all the ill omens. If you remember in the 4th chapter also we saw that the sages asked Suta Goswami when, where and for what reason this Bhagavatam has been compiled. Who inspired Vyasadeva to compile this? The discussion starts with after Lord Krishna departed from this world, Kali Yuga began and Vyasadeva began to see all the ill omens. So there Vyasa saw the ill omens as soon as the Lord Krishna departed. Now here Yudhisthira Maharaj is going to see the same ill omens. To indicate that this is just immediately after Lord Krishna's departure. In the 14th chapter, Maharaj Yudhisthira, understanding the meaning of the inauspicious signs, and when he sees Arjuna arriving in distress from Dwaraka, so there are 2 things are happening. One thing, there are so many ill omens around, and Arjuna returns from Dwaraka after 7 months of his travel to Dwaraka. So seeing the ill omens and seeing the dejected appearance of Arjuna, Yudhisthira Maharaj concludes that whatever Narada Muni hinted had happened. So like that. That is what we see in this chapter. This is the brief summary of the entire chapter. Arjuna went to Dwaraka for 2 reasons. Maharaj Yudhishthira suspects the disappearance of Lord Krishna for the following reasons. And Maharaj Yudhishthira suspects are supplemented by Arjuna's appearance. And then Yudhishthira makes so many inquiries onto Arjuna, not directly. When Arjuna comes home, he did not ask, is your friend departed, something like that. He does not even utter that word. He makes so many other side inquiries because he does not want to accept that. Who will accept that Lord Krishna departed their dear more than their life? So this whole chapter goes in that mode. So in the beginning, in the chapter 7 to 12, Suta Goswami described about various instances that led to the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, starting with Ashwatthama throwing Brahmastra weapon to kill the embryo in the womb of Uttara. And then, before telling how Kali was punished by Parikshit Maharaj, so the question was about the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, activities of Parikshit Maharaj, his renunciation, and his death. That Suta Goswami is supposed to answer. His birth is answered, his activities are supposed to be answered. In order to talk about activities of a king, he is supposed to become the king. So how and when, under what circumstances he became king, that is being explained. So Lord Krishna departed, understanding that Vidura came to Hastinapur, requested his elder brother to depart. Dhritarashtra departed. Then Yudhisthira Maharaj sent Arjuna to Dwaraka. Arjuna understood what had happened. Arjuna comes home. He informs Yudhisthira, and Yudhisthira also departs. Then Parikshit Maharaj can become the king. If already one king is there, the next generation cannot become the king. So that is the sequence of events. So, but to describe the coronation, first the arrival of Vidura and the departure of Dhritarashtra on the instruction of Vidura, and the arrival of Arjuna and the departure of the Pandavas are described in 3 chapters. So, end of the next chapter, Parikshit Maharaj will be coronated. And then starting with the 16th chapter onwards, the activities of Parikshit Maharaj. Out of many activities, one of the important activity which no one could do in the past, no one will do in the future also, that will be explained. That is punishing Kali. So that is the special activity of Parikshit Maharaj. So in that way. So now Suta Goswami is starting the discussion. Suta uvacha samprastite dvarakayam jishnau vadati drikshaya jnatum cha punya shlokasya krishnasya cha vicheshritam. Please someone read the translation.
Sri Suta Goswami said, Arjuna went to Dwarka to see Lord Sri Krishna and other friends and also to learn from the Lord of his next activities.
Suta Goswami is saying that Samprastite Dwarakayam Jishnu. Jishnu means Arjuna. Bandhu Didrikshaya. Just to see his relatives. Etc. etc. Arjuna went to Dwaraka to see his friends and relatives and understand the activities and intentions of the famous Lord Sri Krishna. Jnatumcha Punnashlokasya Krishnasya cha Vicheshritam. Cheshta means activity. Vicheshritam means Vichesha Rupena Cheshta. Special activities. What are the further plans and activities of Lord Krishna? In order to understand, Arjuna went to Dwarka to meet his friends and relatives and also understand what are the further instructions of Lord Krishna unto us, the Pandavas. So with that intention, he went to Dwarka. Arjuna went to Dwarka to understand Lord's activities and his intentions, both. Then, here it comes. Vyatita katachinmasas tada naya tatorjuna dadarsha gora rupani nimittani kurudvaha.
A few months passed and Arjuna did not return. Maharaj Yudhisthira then began to observe some inauspicious omens, which were fearful in themselves.
Since the time Arjuna went to Dwaraka, they are eagerly waiting some news from Dwaraka or Arjuna has returned. But one thing Arjuna is not returning. Second thing, there are so many inauspicious omens are seen around. So Yudhishthira Maharaj will explain the future verses, etc. You are there in the Bhagavatam class today? Anyone?
Yes.
So the verse talks about the wonderful rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So during the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj for 35 years, though it was the end of Dwapara Yuga, the entire atmosphere was like that of Satya Yuga. It was so auspicious, everything was very nice. We discussed in the 12th chapter. So, but now Yudhishthira Maharaj started seeing everything opposite, everything contrary to what was there till now. So that's how he becomes suspicious, he becomes afraid, and he becomes intolerable, something like that. So Katchin Masa indicates 7 months. One of the verse later clearly mentions about 7 months. So Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely in this purport, says that Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is ad infinitum, more powerful than the most powerful sun of our experience. Millions and billions of suns are created by him and annihilated by him within his one breathing period. Brahma Samhita prayers, every Sunday our temple we recite Yashvaisa, Yashvaita, Nishvasita, Kala Matavalambya, Jivanti Loma Vilaja, Jagadandanata. Vishnur Mahan Sayesya Kala Vishesho, Govinda Madipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. When Mahavishnu breathes out, all the universes will emit from his various skin pores. And they stay as long as he withheld the breath. When again he breathes in, everything will enter into his body. So the universes will exist only to the time of that the breathing time span. Kumbhaka, Rechaka, Puraka, ऐसे बोलते हैं ना? One is breathing out, then holding the breath and breathing in. When he breathes out, the universe will manifest. When he holds the breath, the universe will stay. That is for 100 years of Lord Brahma. Again, when he breathes in, they all will enter back into his heart. That is Mahavishnu's activity. In the material world, the sun is considered to be the source of all productivity and material energy. And only due to the sun can we have the necessities of life. Therefore, during the personal presence of the Lord on the earth, all paraphernalia for our peace and prosperity, especially religion and knowledge, were in full display because of the Lord's presence, just as there is a full flood of light in the presence of the glowing sun. So Prabhupada is taking the example of sun. When sun is present, we have everything. For anything, we need light. If there is no light, can we get up? Can we perform any activity? No. We cannot sustain, we cannot live only. Not only sun, sun's other forms also. All energy are sun's forms only, different form. Electricity, diesel, petrol, everything is sun's different form only. None of these things are there, we cannot do anything. Even we can't grow any vegetables or any food grains, etc., any crops. So sun is our sustenance. You remember this mantra, Gayatri mantra, Brahma Gayatri. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. So this mantra is basically the living entity may be there in the Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Swargaloka, wherever it is. Our sustenance is only based on sun. This mantra is indicates that this mantra is for our maintenance, for our proper maintenance in this world. Recognizing the supervising potency of Lord Surya, who is an expansion of Lord Vishnu, and under his shelter we can sustain here in this world.
Someone's fallen at the gate. Sorry.
Some of you lost Lakshmi at the gate, at the entrance it is fell down like the provision.
But the who came to give you.
So Bhuloka, Bhurloka and Sargaloka, their sustenance completely depends upon sun. So that's why we chant this mantra. Gayatri mantra is mainly for our sustenance in that way. So Prabhupada is taking that example. So Krishna is compared to thousands of suns. So one sun can maintain Bhuloka, Bhurloka, Sargaloka. Krishna himself is there with like 1,000 suns. Can't he maintain everything properly? So in his presence there will be no disturbance, or there will be no something less, no shortage or something like that. So like that Prabhupada is telling. Maharaj Yudhisthira observed some discrepancies in his kingdom, and therefore he became very anxious about Arjuna, who was long absent, and there was also new news about Dwaraka's well-being. He suspected the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, there would have been no possibility of fearful omens. So just by, because with this example, if you see, one sun can maintain 3 planetary systems, 1,000 suns can very easily maintain. Not from the point of view of temperature in 1,000 times, but the main ability to provide the maintenance. So since now things seems to be going opposite. The Gora Rupani, the Dadarsha, Gora Rupani, everything appears to be very opposite. So he suspected that Krishna might have disappeared, as indicated by Narada. कालस्य च गतिं रौद्रां विपर्य शत्रुधर्मिणा पापीयसीं नृणां वार्तां क्रोधलोभानृतात्मनां.
He saw that the direction
He
of
saw that
this was very fearful. There were disruptions in the seasonal regularities. The people in general were very greedy, angry, and deceitful. And he saw that they were adopting foul means of livelihood.
what are the symptoms of Kali Yuga? Now we see. All these verses will talk about symptoms of Kali Yuga. He saw a sorry, he saw a fearful change of time. Kalasya gatim raudram. Kala is supposed to be normal, but Kala took the form of Raudra. Raudra means destruction. Bhayanak also, but destruction in one sense, destruction. So whatever is good, getting destroyed. That is the nature of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means everything is opposite. If you remember Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, the understanding of a person, the mode of goodness is they know what is dharma, what is adharma. Understanding of a person, the mode of passion is they are doubtful. What is dharma, what is adharma, whether this is good or bad, this is dharma, this is adharma, what they are doubtful. And the understanding of the person, the mode of ignorance is they are confident that dharma is adharma, adharma is dharma. That is the nature. So Bhagavatam 11th canto explain that in Satya Yuga, the goodness is fully prominent. The contamination of Rajoguna, Tamoguna are very, very, very minimal. In Treta Yuga, goodness is prominent, but with some portion of Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Dwapara Yuga, mode of passion is prominent, but here and there you can see some Satvaguna and Tamoguna. In Kali Yuga, mode of ignorance will be prominent, but here and there we can see some Rajoguna and Satvaguna. So this is what it is Kali Yuga means. The understanding of people in general is dharma to be adharma, adharma to be dharma. So here we can see the same symptoms. So Kalasya gatim raudram. Kala took the shape of Raudra, destruction. With seasons appearing in the wrong order. Viparya yasta rutu dharmina. The seasons are coming oppositely. The rain suddenly comes when they are not supposed to come. In the previous chapter, 12th chapter, you remember? The rains only used to come in the night time. They would never disturb people during the daytime so that people can work throughout the daytime. And rains would come only that amount that is required. At every place, whatever amount of water is required, that much only rain would come. So appropriately. Now, sometimes flood will come, sometimes there is no rains only. Even in our area also, some places there is flooding is happening, some places there is no rain only. Atirvishti, Anavishti. So that is the nature of Kali Yuga. And he saw sinful men, papiyashim nrunam, engaged in maintaining themselves by occupations which were characterized by anger, greed, and cheating. Vartam, Varta means livelihood. Their occupation for their livelihood. They are all connected with Krodha, Lobha, Anruta, Atmanam. Anger, greed, and Anruta means cheating. Cheating means. This is what we see. Every day there is some scandal is coming out. Something like that in that sense. Time passed with the sequence of seasons being reversed. Men's livelihood became most sinful. I mean, what some simple thing I don't know. I'm sorry to share my personal example. Last year I was at home. So mother used to get milk. The milk used to be in yellow color. So many people, even in the villages, in order to get more money, they add. All of you understand urea?
Yeah.
Some kind of pesticides.
Fertilizer. Yes.
So they add in the milk urea. So when you select the concentration of the fat content in the milk, by adding urea, they get more. So based on the content of the concentration of the fat in the milk, they get amount. So for that they add all those things. So they may have only 5 liters. They may add some content of these fertilizers in that. But when you put that into a big bottle, the whole bottle of milk gets contaminated. When people get that, they will get to drink that all that pesticides in that. Huh? And some people add salt. Salt also. They add salt. Milk is not supposed to go with salt.
Yes.
They both are aviruddha ahara.
Yes.
Some people add salt to get more fat content, fat percentage. And of course, some people add water. That is anyway. Everyone does. So it's like that. When small, I mean to say that even small things also, this mentality is there.
When they steroids the cows and buffaloes, so they
How to
secret-
have nowadays no natural begetting children. It is all through injection or through other means only. IVF something like that. And at least in my childhood, we ourselves had 2 cows, 4 bulls, and 4 5 buffaloes in our family. I used to go along with them to take care of them. But now in my village, there are not Indian breed cows. All are Jersey only. Only they are maintaining cows only for the purpose of milking. And there are no bulls only. Hardly we can see any bulls. In my childhood, at least in my village, at least in 100 families, 100 homes, at least they had one pair of bulls. Because that is the main agriculture, and everyone is based on agriculture. So now there are 20 tractors in my village. So it's like that. Things are reversed. And now in future verses, things become more and more like difficult to accept. Then what is Yudhisthira? Jimma prayam vyavahritam satyamishram cha suhrudat pitru matru suhratru dampatinam cha kalkanam.
All ordinary transactions and dealings became polluted with cheating, even between friends and in family affairs. And there was always misunderstanding between fathers, mothers, and sons, between well wishers and between brothers. Even between husband and wife, there was always strain and quarrel.
Yeah. Yudhishthira Maharaj saw dealings that were filled with deception. Jihma prayam vyavahritam. The family dealings, they are filled with deception. And friendships which were mixed with cheating. Satya mishram cha sahurdam. There were quarrels between fathers, mothers, friends, brothers, husbands, and wives. Pitru, Matru, Suhrut, Bratru, Dampati Namcha, Kalkanam. So quarrels between father, mother, quarrel between father and father's friends, quarrel between fathers and sons, and fathers ka brothers, and quarrel between husband and wife, quarrel between sons, I mean, like that. Everyone, whatever relationships are there, there is a permutation combination in all sense. Kalkanam means quarrels and other conflicts. Kali is defined as quarrel and hypocrisy. Kala and Kalaha and Nirukti. So it is said that when people come together in Kali Yuga, they quarrel with each other. When they are alone, they are hypocrite. So they have something in their mind, they say something else outside, something like that. Duplicity, something like that.
Today's law means not an ideal.
Ah.
It's very normal
Ah.
now.
If one is like that, they will be glorified. If one is not like that, they will be criticized. If somebody says always some kind of truth, they say आप एलियन है क्या? They'll ask like that. आप कहाँ से आएगा? हाँ, like that they ask. So Prabhupada writes, a conditioned living being is endowed with 4 principles of malpractice, namely errors, insanity, inability, and cheating. This is basically that 4 limitations we have. Imperfect senses. As a result of that, we are tend to be illusioned, and as a result of that, we make mistakes. In order to cover our mistakes, we cheat others. So these are the 4 inabilities in the human being. There are signs of imperfection. These are signs of imperfection. And out of the 4, the propensity to cheat other is most prominent. And this cheating practice is there in the conditioned souls because the conditioned souls are primarily in the material world, imbued with an unnatural desire to lord it over the material world. So then Prabhupada continues somewhere, couple of lines later. In the conditioned state, the living being is not satisfied even if he actually becomes the lord of all that he surveys, which he never becomes, and therefore he becomes the victim of all kinds of cheating, even with his nearest and most intimate relations. Everyone want to be on the highest position. Even though one does not deserve, everyone want to be there. In order to go there, they even cheat one's own relatives also. In such an unsatisfactory state of affairs, there is no harmony, even between father and sons, or between husband and wife. But all these contending difficulties can be mitigated by one process, and that is the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. The world of hypocrisy can be checked only by counteraction through devotional service to the Lord and nothing else. Maharaj Yudhisthira, having observed the discrepancies, conjectured the disappearance of the Lord from the earth. So, if you remember in the third chapter, it is mentioned that Kalau Nasta Drusham Esha Puranarko Dunodita. Because the nature of the Kali Yuga is to say that Dharma is Adharma, Adharma is Dharma. But in order to show the right Dharma, what the right Dharma is, the Supreme Lord again reappeared as Bhagavatam. So only by taking shelter of Bhagavatam, in that sense, as Prabhupada says, one can at least try to be in the right direction. So in that way. Nimittani atteristani kale tu anugatendranam lobadi adharma prakritim drushto vachanujam nrupa.
In the course of time, it come to pass that people in general became accustomed to greed, anger, pride, etc. Maharaja Yudhishthira, observing all these omens, spoke to his younger brother.
Yeah. Seeing the men's sinful qualities filled with greed, Loba Adi Adharma Prakritim Društva. Loba Adi not ending with Loba only, all others. Kama, Krodha, Loba, Madama, Masara, etc. And the extremely inauspicious symptoms. Ati Arishtani, not normal Arishta, Ati Arishta, extremely inauspicious symptoms. Appearing according to time, Kaletu Anugate. Yudhishthira Maharaj spoke to Bhima. Bhima was next to him. Arjuna went to Dwaraka. They are waiting for him. So he began to speak to Bhima. The cause everywhere is time. His own time having arrived, seeing the nature of men, he spoke to Bhima. Yudhishthira understanding that, seems that Lord Krishna disappeared and seems that it is time for us to retire from the worldly affairs. So with that hint, he began to speak to Bhima. So he's going to say so many things. Yudhisthira uvacha sampreshtito dvarakayam Jishnur bandhu didrikshaya jnatum cha punya shlokasya krishnasya cha visheshtitam.
Maharaja Yudhishthira said to his younger brother Bhimasena, I sent Arjuna to Dwaraka to meet his friends and to learn from the personality of Godhead Krishna of his program of work.
Yudhishthira said, this is same as the first verse. First verse also same almost. I sent Arjuna to Dwaraka because I wanted him to see our friends there, Bandhu Didrikshaya, and to understand the activities of Lord Krishna. So then, Gata Saptadu Namasa Bhimasena Tavanuja Nayati Kasya Vaheto Naham Veda Dedam Vajra.
Since he departed, 7 months have passed, yet he has not returned. I do not know factually how things are going there.
Mataji,
Hmm.
sometime give others to
Yes,
read,
yes, yes, yes.
give the chance
Haribol,
to others.
Haribol, Haribol.
Krishna. Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, Bhimasena, 7 months have passed. Gata Sapta Aduna Masa. Since the time Arjuna left for Dwaraka, already 7 months passed. Your younger brother has not yet returned. Na yati, na ayati. He has not come back. I do not know the reason at all. Kasyava hetu, na aham vededam anjasa. So, my dear brother, I don't know what is the reason, but by somehow or other, it did not come back till now, from the last 7 months.
You mentioned 7 months are mentioned. So
Yeah, based on this verse. Api devarshinaadishta sakaloyam upasthita yadatmanongam akridam bhagavan usthishaya.
Is he going to quit his earthly pastime as Devasinara indicated? As that time already arrived.
So here Yudhisthira Maharaj indirectly saying that has the time indicated by Narada arrived when the Supreme Lord desires to give up his form engaged in different pastimes? Sa kalo ayam devarshina adishta upasthitaha. Upastha means coming in front of you. Whether the time as indicated by Narada Muni has come, what did Narada Muni indicated? Yada atmano angam akridam bhagavan ut sistrikshati. Akridam means, krida means to perform activities, playful activities. Akridam means Lord is going to stop performing activities. That means he is no more. When person is there, he performs activities, and he is not there, he will not perform activities. Whether that is going to happen now, something like that, Yudhisthira Maharaj is suspecting. Yudhisthira speaks in this manner about Lord Krishna's departure to express lamentation for the departure of a friend and not to express the real truth. Yudhisthira knows that Krishna is Supreme Personality, what they accept. And for Jiva only there is no death. Then what to speak of for the Supreme Lord? He knows the truth. But from the familial affection, he is telling, he is the Lord going to depart from this world. The time has come. However, Mother Saraswati speaks through his mouth, giving another meaning to his words. Whatever he has said, Mother Saraswati has a different meaning to say. He desires to establish his expansion form of Narayana above in Vaikuntha. You see, Ut Sisrikshati. So he has taken that Ut and Sisrikshati. Ut means above. So we have 14 planetary systems in our universe. The topmost is Satyaloka. Above Satyaloka there is a Vaikuntha. That is where Manvantara Avatar resides. Whoever is the Manvantara Avatar for that Manvantara period, he resides. Currently Vamana is residing there. So Krishna is telling that whenever Krishna appears, especially the Kshirodaksha Vishnu and Manvantara Avatara, they also enter into the Lila Avatara, whether it is Krishna or Rama, because the Lord comes to perform the activities of them. It is the responsibility of Kshirodaksha Vishnu and Manvantara Avatara to look after the welfare of the entire universe. But sometimes they also call someone from the spiritual world, like Rama, Krishna, etc. When they come, they also join them. So now, as long as Krishna is there, they are also there within Krishna. When he's going back, he has to send them to their respective places. So that is what is indicated. So whether Krishna want to send Narayana back to that Vaikuntha which is there above Satyaloka, what type of form has Narayana? It is somewhat expressive of pastimes. Killing the demons is the responsibility of that Manvantara Avatara or Kshirodaksha Vishnu, not the responsibility of Krishna. Krishna comes here to perform Leela only. Rama comes here to perform Leela only. Killing Ravana is the responsibility of Kshirodaksha Vishnu or not Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Manvantara Avatara. But they do this through the Leela Avatara. Whenever the Leela Avatara comes, they enter into the Leela Avatara and they do that activity. So it is like that.
So are you seeing that this Manvantara Avatar and the Vishnu, they are entering into Krishna to kill Kansa and the
Yes.
Bakasura and the Putna, everyone?
Yes, yes. It is like that. They only.
Which one of the Manvantara avatars is?
There are every Manu period there is one Manvantara Avatara. During first Manu, Yajna was the Manvantara Avatara. In the previous Manvantara was Ajita was Manvantara Avatara. Ajita in future, when you read Bhagavatam 8th canto, you will read about Samudra Manthan episode. So Lord Ajita was there overseeing the entire Samudra Manthan episode from the very beginning till the end. He is always cooperating. When Asuras defeated Devatas went to Ajita and they requested, Lord, please do something. And let's go and make truce with Asuras and churn the ocean. I'll come and help. It is he lifted the Mandara mountain.
Yes.
And took it all the way to Milk Ocean. Then while they were churning, the mountain went down. He expanded himself as Purma and lifted it up. And then when they were not able to churn properly, he entered into them and he himself joined the party and then began to churn. And he himself sat on the top of the mountain because mountain was going hearing like this. So in order to keep the mountain stable, he sat on the top of the mountain.
Yes.
And he entered among them. Then he appeared as Dhanvantari bringing the nectar pot. Then he appeared as Mohini Murti to make sure that Devatas only get nectar. Like that is there from the beginning to the end. So it's like that. In the 7th Manvantara, the Avatara is Vamanadev. Even when Bali Maharaj again defeated Indra, he himself came and begged 3 pairs of land and took away 3 planetary systems and gave it to Indra. So it's like that. There is Manvantara Avatara every Manvantara period. So they will do the needful. Whenever things go out of order, they do the needful.
No, but in some Manvantara only Lord comes in other Manvantaras are the normal.
Manvantara Avatara means Lord only. Lord only comes every time.
Every
Avatara means Lord only, na? Every Manvantara Avatara, Lord only comes. Lord means there is a separate Manvantara Avatara for every Manu period.
It is one of the type of avatars, like 6 types of
Yeah.
avatars are there. So Manvantara avatar is one of
So
them.
how long is a Manvantara?
Okay. Lord Brahma's 1 day is equal to 1000 Chaturyugas. 1 Chaturyuga is Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. Chatur means 4. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, all put together called 1 Chaturyuga. So 1 Kali Yuga lasts for 4,32,000 years. Dwapara Yuga 2 times to that. Treta Yuga 3 times to that. Satya Yuga 4 times to that. 4 combined together 10 times. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4.
43,20,000 years.
That is the duration of 1 Chaturyuga. Into 1000 is the duration of 1 day of Brahma. In that 1 day of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantaras. So 1000 Chaturyugas divided by 14. It comes around 71 plus something. 71 point something. So we can take 71. So 1 Manvantara lasts for 71 Chaturyugas. That is the lifespan of the Devatas. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, they all live for that much lifespan. 1 Manvantara period. Every Manvantara period, the Devatas will change. Like just like our government changes after every 5 years, all Devatas will change after every Manvantara period. After 71 Chaturyugas. That is 71 times 40 like 20,000 years. That is the lifespan of Devatas. And during that, whenever Devatas are put in trouble, the Manvantara Avatara will come into action and do the needful.
Lord Brahma's lifetime is very high as compared to the
That
other
is-
Devatas.
1000 is only daytime of Brahma. That is 12 hours of the daytime. His night also the same 12 hours. Like that, he will live for 100 years. So he has 100 years, every year 12 months, every month 30 days. And every day there is 12 hours night, 12 hours daytime. In 12 hours daytime, there are 1000 Chaturyugas. Within that, there are 14 Manvantaras. So within each Manvantara, there are 71 Chaturyugas. Within each Chaturyuga, there are Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga itself is around 4,32,000 years. Out of that, in the current Kali Yuga, we have just passed 5,120 years. So it's like that. It's something like that. Little louder so that they will hear. Only Manvantara Avatara. Manvantara Avatara resides for entire Manvantara period. Because yes, it is his responsibility to look
Avatar
after.
is different and Manu will be different.
Yeah, Manu is the king, human being. Avatara is the Lord.
So after the one Manvantara ends,
Mm.
the Lord disappear from there,
That Lord goes and different Lord will come.
goes to Vaikuntha.
He goes to Vaikuntha home. And another Manvantara Avatara will come. And he will look after the maintenance of the universe.
It is that Krishna is enjoying that pastimes of devotees. He is not, interested in killing small demons. So therefore, Manvantara avatar is doing his part, like that.
No. The maintenance is the responsibility of Manvantara Avatara and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. We say na Srishti Sthiti Laya. Srishti is the activity of Brahma. Maintain Sthiti is the activities of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And Laya, destruction, is the activity of Lord Shiva.
Yes.
When avatars come here, they come here to attract all of us to back to Godhead,
Correct.
not to kill the asuras.
Correct.
So killing the asuras is the responsibility of these two. Because asuras are causing disturbances in the maintenance of the universe. So ये दोनों करने चाहिए. So sometimes they only do on their own. Sometimes they join the Leela Avtara whenever the Leela Avtara comes, and with that Leela Avtara they do the needful.
Kshirodaksha Vishnu and
Manvantara Avtara.
So the Lord comes once only in one day of Brahma.
Leela Avtara comes only once in a day of Brahma. Yes. Lord Krishna comes only once. Lord Rama comes only once. Lord Narsingadev comes only once.
That is a very huge period. Like,
Yes, it is like that. That is how they are scheduled. They are scheduled to come. Only once in a day of Brahma they come. They don't come again and again. Narsingadev came long back in the previous Manvantara period. Lord Rama also came long back. He will not come back again. Yeah, in the current Manvantara, 4 Chaturyugas back. Now we are going to 20th Chaturyuga. Lord Rama appeared in the 24th Chaturyuga. In that Treta Yuga of the 24th Chaturyuga.
Lord Narasimha came is the previous one.
Previous Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara he came. In order to kill Hiranya Kashipu. उसके पहले Lord Varaha came to kill Hiranyaksha. So it's like that.
so this Manvantara is which number we said?
7.
7.
आप एग्जाम लिखेगा तो सब याद रहेगा. एक भक्ति हो गया, दूसरा कर रहा है. इसलिए एग्जाम रखा, तब याद आ गया करके. So don't worry. So now the point is, so the service of Lord Vishnu, who is staying in that Vaikunta which is located above Satyaloka, is done. So is it Lord Krishna dispatching everyone to their respective places and he also going back to Godhead like that? Yudhisthira Maharaj. Saraswati Devi is hinting through the words of the Yudhisthira Maharaj. He is not saying like that. He is saying that Akridam. He is going to stop performing the activities. Other one, the meaning is that Akridam or Utsisrikshaya. He is going to send that Vishnu back to Vaikunta. And there are no more the maintenance and killing activities, killing demons activities kind of things, etc. So Prabhupada elaborately explains about what all the activities Lord does, why Lord Krishna appears, yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata apyuttana madharmasya tadatmanam drujamyam. And then what is the next verse? बिहार चोपड़ा का महाभारत देखा नहीं? परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय
संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
These are the activities of Manvantara Avatara or Kshirodaksha Vishnu. But the activity of Krishna, such kind of Lilavataras is Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Evam Yo Veti Tatvatah Taktva Deha Punarjanma Naiti Mamiti So
Arjuna.
he just appears here so that we will have some subject matter to hear about his appearance and his activities. Hearing which we become qualified to go back home to Godhead. Otherwise, what we will hear? We have so many other newspapers only. We end up having that only. We will hear about ourselves only. It is only when Lord appears, we have something to hear about the Lord. If Lord does not appear, we will have nothing to hear about the Lord. How long you continue to hear about the creation only? Since Lord appeared as Lord Ram, we have got Ramayana. We have got Ram Navami, Ramayana, and so many things are there. Lord appeared as Lord Krishna, we have Bhagavatam, Krishna Lila, and so many other things are there. If they don't appear like this, we don't have anything. Since Lord appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have Chaitanya Bhagavad, Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya this, Chaitanya this, so many books. So only because Lord appears again and again, we have something to do Shravanam, so that we can do something Kirtanam, Nama Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Lila Kirtan, and what is the next one? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, Lila Kirtan. And then at the time of death, we will be able to contemplate on the Lord. Anta Kalacha Mameva, Smaran Mukto Kalaya. So like that. And other things. Archanam also. If the Lord don't appear, whom we will worship? We will not have any deity form also. Since Lord appeared in various forms, we have deities to worship. We have Krishna's deity, we have Lord Rama's deity, we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deity, we have Varaha's deities, Vamana's deity, like that we worship. So these are all different purposes so that all of us are engaged in positive way. That is the intention with which Lord appears. So that Prabhupada elaborates. So Prabhupada writes maybe at the later part of this purport, the page downwards. When the Lord, however, appears in his person as Lord Sri Krishna, his other plenary portions also join in him by his inconceivable potency called Yogamaya. And thus the Lord Krishna of Vrindavan is different from the Lord Krishna of Madura or the Lord Krishna of Dwarka. The Virat Rupa of Lord Krishna is also different from him by his inconceivable potency. The Virat Rupa exhibited on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the material conception of his form. Therefore, it should be understood that when Lord Krishna was apparently killed by the bow and arrow of the hunter, the Lord left his so-called material body in the material world. The Lord is Kaivalya, and for him there is no difference between the matter and spirit, because everything is created from him. Therefore, he is quitting the one sort of body or accepting another body does not mean that he is like the ordinary living entity. All such activities are simultaneously one and different by his inconceivable potency. When Maharaj Yudhisthira was lamenting the possibility of his disappearance, it was just in pursuance of a custom of lamenting the disappearance of a great friend. But actually, the Lord never quits his transcendental body, as is misconceived by less intelligent persons. Such less intelligent persons have been condemned by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, and they are known as Mudas. What is the verse?
Namo
Bhagavad Gita.
Dukkhavitino Buddha. Na
Next.
Pravatyante Naradama. Asuram Bhavam Ashrita.
Okay, thank you. That the Lord left his body means that he left again his plenary portions in the respect to Damas, as he left his Virat Rupa in the material world. So, like that, Prabhupada explains this concept. Any questions from the devotees online? Able to follow what we are discussing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Other
But
devotees?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
In 5,000 years only, that Kali Yuga, we feel that enough is enough. But 4,32,000 mein kya hoga?
Same. Within couple of months only, Yudhisthira Maharaj is seeing all these things. Whatever is being discussed in the Bhagavatam, what was seen by Yudhisthira Maharaj within 7 months only. We have already 5,000 years. So, it's okay. You are feeling more AC? No, remote is here. Whichever temperature you want, you can keep. I don't have any issue. In the beginning, room was hot, I kept a little bit. So you adjust. So anyway, by the way, whatever we discussed now, that about Manvantaras, Daya, Brahma, this, that, all those things are there in our book. This book actually explains about all these things which happened from the beginning of Brahma's birth till the end of Brahma's death. Brahma's 100 years, everything is kind of put in order and explained. Those who are interested, curious to know all these things, can read the book starting to end.
Which book?
I told na that book Bhagavata Vichar, the one. So in that, whatever. Yasmanna sampado rajyam dara prana kulam praja asan sapatna vijayo lokaschayat anugrahat.
From him only all our kingly opulence, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subjects, victory over our enemies, and future accommodations in higher planets have become possible. All this is due to his costless mercy upon us.
Yeah. Now Yudhisthira Maharaj recognizing that whatever they have obtained till now, it's all because of the causeless mercy of Lord Krishna. From him, by his mercy, we have attained wealth, kingdom, wives, life, family, citizens, victory over our enemies in the Kurukshetra battle, etc., and other battles, and the higher worlds. I'm in a class, can I call afterwards? So all these things Yudhisthira Maharaj attained by the mercy of Lord Krishna. Without the absence of Lord Krishna, the ill omens would not appear. Throughout our life, in spite of going through so many difficulties, we never had inauspiciousness. Yet, overcoming every difficulty, we became more and more prosperous, more and more auspicious. Everything that Pandavas went through, they became more and more prosperous. Even when Bhima was poisoned, but eventually become so powerful. He get to drink the nectar and he became 1,000 elephants powerful. Even when Pandavas were attempted to be burned alive in the Lakh house, they won over the hand of Draupadi. They became so powerful by having allies with Drupad Maharaj and their kingdom. And even though Pandavas were cheated and they were sent to Kando Prastha, they were given barren land. But eventually they made that as prosperous land, made it as Indraprastha. Eventually they conducted Rajasuya sacrifice. Even though later on when they were royally cheated in the gambling match, they were sent to forest, but they will become victorious in the Kurukshetra battle and they could establish the governance like that of Ram Raja. So every time, even though they were going through difficulties, but they become prosperous, they became more and more auspicious. But now things are going opposite. He is concluding that it is all due to Lord Krishna. If Lord Krishna is there around, there will be no chance of such kind of inauspicious situation. Difficulties may be there, but inauspiciousness won't be there. But since there are no difficulties, but inauspiciousness is there, that means Lord Krishna is not around. So like that is trying to.
It is similar to what Kunti Maharani said. You are leaving us now, so what will happen to us? Because you protected us many times. Like, in her prayers, basically.
Yeah, in one of the prayers she said like that. But that time she is not indicating that Lord Krishna is leaving forever.
Yes, correct.
She said that you are not with us.
Yes.
You are at a remote place. You are not in our direct company. So in that way. But here it is, he is no more. He is not there only. So in that way. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj continues. Pashyotpatan Ravyagra Divyan Bhauman Sadaikan Darunan Samsato Daurat Ubayam no Buddhi Mohanam.
Just see, for man is tiger's strength. How many mysteries due to celestial influences, the reaction and bodily pain, all very dangerous in themselves, not foreboding danger in the near future but revealing our intelligence.
Yeah. In the previous purport, Prabhupada writes one interesting point. In the presence of Krishna, one can conquer death. But giving up Krishna, a person may advance materially so much, but one can never conquer death. So Prabhupada writes, at least in those decades, it was so famous that scientists are working conquer death. We are going to conquer death very soon. We are going to conquer death. Those days it was like so much hype out there. We are going to moon. We are going to settle there in the moon. We are sending all the extra population to the moon, and very soon we are conquering death. And they kind of revived mummies, and they are kind of making so many arrangements. People sponsored also. When I die, preserve my body. When scientists become successful and revive me, they sponsor a lot of money. Also, many people in the past.
Or Disney ka koi founder.
Yeah, Obi, he also said like that. So it's like it was big hype in those days. Nowadays, nobody talking about it, but at least in those decades, it was so much. So Prabhupada is keeping that in mind. Prabhupada writing, material prosperity does not protect one from death, but association of Krishna can save one from death. So in that way, that is the contrast. So now here, Yudhishthira Maharaj continuing that. Pashyotpatan Naravyagra. Naravyagra means a lion among men. So it's compared, Bhima is compared to the lion among men. See the ill omens in the sky. Pashya Utpatan Divyan. There are ill omens seen in the sky. And there are ill omens seen on the land. There are still ill omens seen on the bodies of the people around. Bauman Sa Dahikan. The people also started displaying ill omens, indicating fearful situation. Bayam, Darunam Bayam, not ordinary Bayam. Very, very, very unbearable, fearful situation. Close at hand. Adurad, not very far. These fearful situations are not in a foreign land. Next to me only, he's telling, which will bewilder our intelligence. Because Yudhisthira did not see all these things till now. In the last 35 years, what to speak of 35, last 125 years in his entire life, he did not see such kind of things. Now he's seeing them and is becoming fearful. This kind of situations I never expected, I never saw only. Something like that. The omens created fear. So what kind of omens that Yudhisthira saw and is telling to Bhima? Same thing. Prabhupada's same theme continues in this purport also. Material advancement of material advancement of civilization means advancement of the reactions of the threefold miseries due to celestial influence, earthly reactions, and bodily or mental pains.
But whatever Kauravas did, that was also greed and envy, all those bad qualities. So how is he saying that he has not seen it in the last so many difficulties they've gone through?
They knew Duryodhana is a offense person, but he is a Kali person, but they know that Duryodhana means he will be like that only. But such kind of mentality is not seen in the people in general. People in general, they are normal. They are like, see, it is said that Radha Gopinath Prabhu always says that in Satya Yuga, the people with divine qualities live on one planet, people with demonic qualities live in other planets. In Treta Yuga, they live in different countries. In Dwapar Yuga, they live in different families. Pandava's family and Duryodhana's family. In Kali Yuga, they live in the same person. So it's like that. So at least in Dwapar Yuga, they know if one person is in Adharmic, he is Adharmic entire life. If person is Dharmic, they can make out. But in Kali Yuga, difficult to make out. So who is Dharmic, who is Adharmic, in that way. So proper same thing. So the man-made material science cannot do anything to counteract these threefold miseries. They are all punishments from the superior energy of Maya under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, our constant touch with the Lord by devotional service can give us relief from our being disturbed in the discharge of our human duties. The material progress is only meant to award us Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Daivika Klesha, Adi Bhautika Klesha. There is nothing more than that. Advancement means increment in the miseries. Nothing more than that. So in the past, people are suffered due to plague. Now we are suffering due to corona. In the future, they will suffer due to something else. So the name may change, suffering won't change. So it's like that. That is the advancement. Alpha, beta, delta, gamma, whatever is the new variant. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj continues. Uruvakshibahavo mayam Spuranti anga puna puna vepatuschapi hrudaye aradashyanti vipriyam.
The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, and eyes are all quivering again and again. I'm having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings.
Yeah, this is one important general thing. It like we can say like sixth sense or something like that. Even in our vicinity also these things we can understand. Oh Bhima, my left thigh, my left eye, and my left arm are repeatedly twitching. Puna puna again and again. There is trembling in my heart. Vepatus chapi hrudaye. Soon these omens will bring misfortune. Arad dasyanti vipriyam. Priyam means desirable. Vipriyam means viruddha rupena priya. The opposite to priya. That is apriyam. Misfortune. So especially for men, If anything on the left side is causing the twitching kind of thing, it indicates undesirable. If anything on the right side kind of happens, it indicates good omen. For women, it is opposite. So it is like that. So it is like gut feeling or something. Suddenly some person gets something like this, they'll say that something is going to happen. Why, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? Etc.
Is there any scriptural base for this, or like, because if we tell these things to outside people, they will say that you are superstitious or something like that.
Your body is created like that. So I don't remember exactly. In the third canto, it is mentioned one simple thing. Nowadays, Mataji is when they become pregnant, they go to hospital to understand whether the child is male or. Of course, government put a restriction on that it should not do, but still it is to be there. Bhagavatam says that if the child is observed moving on the left side, seems that it is male child. Seems to be moving on the right side, seems that female child. And even while sleeping also, the male supposed to sleep either on the back side or sleep on the left hand. We use pillow, no? So you can lie down like flat in the back side or turn to the left. The male, that will improve their digestion.
Yes.
When they sleep. The Mataji, they should sleep in the right hand side. That will improve their digestion. So like that, all these, like they are all there in scriptures only. I'm not saying. So even this is not something superstitious. It is actually the body is made like that by the Supreme Lord. So that we can understand, these are like precautionary notes. We can prepare ourselves. So not something here and there. Even the very sleeping itself has a good science. Why we were always told not to keep our head towards south, in earth while sleeping?
Gravitational effect.
वो तो छोड़ दो. The gravitational school में पढ़ा होगा. But what your parents have told? Anything they told?
यमराज का place है ऐसा कुछ है.
That is important thing. So generally we were told that, of course, Yudhisthira Maharaj was told by Dharmaraj, Bhishma, that whatever discussion happened in the previous chapter in the Bhagavatam classes, that is elaborately explained in the Mahabharata, Shanti Parva and Anushasana Parva. He himself says, we are supposed to keep our head specifically towards south while sleeping, because as soon as we get up, we should look towards north. The north indicates journey back home, back to Godhead. So when we get up immediately, looking towards north, we should pray that, let this day, somehow or other, by your mercy, I got one more day in my life. Who knows that we will get up tomorrow morning. After getting up, we should be grateful that, my dear Lord, you gave me one more day. Let this day be used in such a way that my journey towards back home, back to Godhead be fastened. Let this day be used in my journey back to Godhead in that way. So north indicates back home, back to Godhead. Next chapter it will mention that Prag Disham Uttaras. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he made Parikshit Maharaj the next thing. He began to walk towards north. North means back only, no coming back. Back to Godhead. Or if not to the south, we can keep our head toward the east or west. East and west are the directions of the sun. Because sun is rising in the east and setting in the west. As soon as we get up, we should be able to see the sun or remember the sun by looking in his direction. And sun is considered to be the guru of all the devatas, the spiritual master. So then we should pray prayer. So my dear Lord, let this day be engaged in gaining that knowledge which will take me back home, back to Godhead. So east or west is for Jnana Samuparjana, north is for Moksha Samuparjana. That is the science. Of course, the modern text we made, they hear that magnetic field is there and blood circulation is there, so many things are there. But spiritual understanding is that. So everything has a science behind it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, Pandit Prada. Prabhuji, so if somebody is sleeping in east or west direction, is it okay?
That's what I'm saying. East or west, okay. So we can keep our head towards south also, but we should never keep head towards north, because as soon as we get up, we'll look towards the direction of south. South is Narakaloka. Our day will go in performing sinful activities which will take us to hell after death.
So no, in north we should not sleep. Yeah. We should
Yeah,
not see
north we
south
should
in the
keep
morning.
our head.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got
Remaining
it.
three
Got it.
directions
Thank,
are okay.
okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
These are simple things only. When we tell our children, you people are all superstitious and no scientific basis, etc. etc. So same way here, he says that my left thigh, my left eye, sorry, this one, and my left arm are repeatedly twitching, which indicates misfortune. As a result of that, my heart is trembling. I'm going through fear. What kind of misfortune is going to happen? Because as a genuine king, he is worried about the welfare of everyone. Misfortune means there is going to be some huge calamity going to happen to everyone. So he is worried about that. So in that sense. Even sometimes people say this, I personally heard from different people. So in my village only, in my school days, some of my friends, suddenly they are somewhere else, but their left eye began to twitch. One eye only. Generally we close both eyes together, na? One eye only start twitching, twitching, twitching. And he was always saying that something is going to happen, something is going. When we came home from the school, we came by walking, his father passed away. There is some communication through some means, some indication. So it's like that. Here the bodily omens are described. Actually, the trembling of the left side is inauspicious. So there are three symptoms. One is in the body, one is in the neighborhood, the one is in the sky, the other one is in the earth. So those symptoms are indicated one after the other. Ill omens seen outside of himself. The first verse talked about within his own body, what are the ill omens he is seeing. Now he is seeing around. Shivai Sodhyantamaadityam Abhirauti Analanana Mam Anga Saramiyoyam Abhirebati Abhiruvat.
Just see, O Bhima, how the she jackal cries at the rising sun and vomits, and how the dark dog barks at me fearlessly.
So he is talking to Bhima. Oh Bhima, a jackal spitting fire is howling while facing the rising sun. When sun rises, everyone is supposed to become happy. Because rising sun is actually good for us to begin performing activities, everything. People in general should become happy. But here what is happening? A jackal spitting fire is howling while facing the rising sun. Even today also, if you happen to go to villages, some relatives are out, come, they always say something bad, something bad. The hearing jackal sound is not at all auspicious. And early in the morning, that is only the night. But early in the morning, it started emitting fire and howling light. Yudhisthira says this is not a good sign. And then a fearless dog is looking at me and howling. Yudhisthira Maharaj, such a pious person, such a gentle person, the dog supposed to be very friendly with him. But now dog became fearless and started barking at Yudhisthira Maharaj. That shows things are reversing. So in that way, dog is supposed to be loyal, gentle, and it has become fearless and barking at Yudhisthira Maharaj. At Yudhisthira Maharaj personally like him. The omen and the earth are described in this verse. The jackal facing the rising sun is howling while vomiting fire from his mouth. A fearless dog looking at me and is howling. These are not expected things, but these are happening. That indicates an upcoming danger. Shashta kuruvanti mam savyam dakshinam pashavopare vaham cha parushavagra lakshyaseyato mama.
O Bhimasena, tiger amongst men. Now useful animals like cows are passing me on my left side, and lower animals like the asses are circumambulating me. My horses appear to weep upon seeing me.
O tiger among men, Purusha Vyagra. Auspicious animals are circling me counterclockwise. The pious animals are supposed to move around us in a clockwise direction. They going counterclockwise means inauspiciousness. Pious animals like cow, etc. They're supposed to go in the clockwise direction. And inauspicious animals are circling me clockwise. They are supposed to go in the opposite order so that they take away inauspiciousness from us. But when they do clockwise direction, they are giving their inauspiciousness to us. I see that my horses are crying. This is like typical example. Auspicious animals like the cow are going to the left, that counterclockwise. Inauspicious animals like the donkey are going clockwise. I see that the horses are crying. Horses are supposed to be jubilant and very chivalrous to run faster and faster. But they are crying means inauspiciousness. So it's like that. Even when Tulsi Maharani also, we always do circumambulation in the clockwise direction. That is to derive auspicious from Tulsi Maharani. Mrityuduta kapoto yam uluka kampayanmana pratyulukascha kuanair vishvam vaishunyamichata.
Just to see, this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of the owls and their rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make a world of the whole universe.
So here one interesting thing. The pigeon, a messenger of death. Mrityu Duta Kapoto Ayam. Kapota bird, the pigeon is considered to be the messenger of death. The owl, which is making my mind tremble. And the crow desires to empty the universe with their harsh cries. Does crow ever make sound? Generally don't. Normally it keeps quiet. It keeps its business. Coo generally, kokila, what birds? They actually make nice sounds. Crow generally we don't like. So if the crow starts making continuous sounds, that is not auspicious. Even generally, crow is seen to be standing on our terrace. Seems that somebody is going to come. There are many crows, and they all started crying. Na? They actually people go and shoo them off. People don't want crows to be standing in great number in their top of the house. Correct. That indicates misfortune. So like that you see. This pigeon, a messenger of death. The owl which is making my mind tremble, and the crow desire to empty the universe with their harsh cries. Pigeon is crying. Matlab, it is shouting. The owl is shouting. The crow is shouting. Their shouts are not at all auspicious. Their shouts indicate death. So in that way. Pratyuluka is a type of owl which is an enemy to the other owl or a crow. Some names. Dhumradisha paridaya kampate bhusa vi nigrascha maham tata shakam cha satani to be.
Just see
Just
how
see how the smoke encircles the sky. It appears that the earth and mountains are throbbing. Just hear the cloudless thunder and see the bolts from the blue.
Yeah. Now the ill omens seen in the atmosphere. The air is hazy in all directions like a wall. Especially in the winter season, we see so much fog. Even 7 a.m., 8 a.m. also there is so much fog. If the fog continues the whole day, will you be happy? There will be so many accidents also. We get WhatsApp posts saying that there is so much fog is there and the vehicles are hitting one after the other, because you can't see anything. We become so insecure and undisturbed. The earth along with the mountains is trembling. Kampate bhu saha adribi. The earth is continuously trembling. When the earth is quaking, who can stay peacefully? Everyone is afraid. Anything can happen. Something like that. There is sudden loud clamor with cloudless thunder. Without any clouds in the sky, if there is sudden sound comes, people become afraid. That is what is happening. When especially beginning of the rainy season, there are so many clouds are seen, and we also hear so many thundering sound. That is the expectation of the rain. But there are no clouds, but there is a lot of sound. That means something unexpected is going to happen. The grey directions are like a wall. There is tremendous sudden clamor along with the cloudless thunder. So like these are all inauspicious signs. Vayurvati karasparsho rajasa visrujam tadma asrug varshanti jalada vivastam iva sarvata.
The wind blows violently, blasting dust everywhere and creating darkness. Clouds are raining everywhere with bloody disasters.
Yeah, further symptoms. The wind spreading darkness with dust blows harshly, and the clouds rain hideously as is spraying blood everywhere. If there is dusty wind continuously coming, we can't live peacefully. And if the rain comes, okay, happy. If there is a blood rain, everyone become insane. In that way. The wind creates intense darkness. The clouds seem to rain blood. Suryam hata prabham pasya grahamardam mito divi sankuler bhutaganer jwalite ivarodasi.
The rays of the sun are declining and the star appears to be fighting amongst themselves. Confused living entities appear to be ablaze and weeping.
The sun, see the sun with the weak light. Suryam hata prabham pasya. Especially in the cloudy day, we don't see so much bright light here and there. That kind of situation is happening now. See the sun with weak light fighting with other planets in the sky, and see the earth and heavens ablaze with the followers of Shiva along with other beings. And here two things are happening. See, the sun brightness is very weak. It seems to be comparing with the brightness of the moon and other planets, other stars, etc. that are there. In the night time, we have stars and we have moonlight and starlight. In the daytime, sunlight is so bright, we can't see other things. But now the things have become like that. The sun with its sunlight competing with the moonlight and light of the stars. It has become so weak. Entire area became so dark. And entire earth and heavens are ablaze with the followers of Lord Shiva. Shiva is the destroyer. His followers are also meant for destruction. It seems that entire universe is going to be destroyed. Something like
we have got this Lord Shiva and this in translation. It is not there in the Prabhupada's translation.
If these are our notes.
Okay.
See the blazing earth and heaven with Lord Shiva's attendants mixed with other living beings. Sa Sankulai. So it's like that. Because destruction is the function of Lord Shiva. He does with his associates. The entire atmosphere became dark. So Lord Shiva, Rudra principle is working now. So in that way. Nadyo nadascha shubita sharamshi cha manamshi cha najvalati agnir ayeja kaloyam kim vidasyati.
Rivers, tributaries, ponds, reservoirs, and the mind are all perturbed. Water no longer ignites fire. What is this extraordinary time? What is going to happen?
Here it said that Nadyo nadastak shubita sharam shicha manam sicha. The male and female rivers, the lakes, and the mind of all living entities are agitated. Shubita. Normally the rivers are continuously flowing. We don't see so many waves in the rivers. But now the river started going up and down. So many waves are there as a tsunami is coming up, something like that. Like that, the people in general are peaceful. But now because of the influence of Kali Yuga, their minds are heavily agitated in that way. Fire does not burn with ghee. When we pour ghee into the burning wooden fire, it will increase. But when we pour ghee, it is stopped. That is the nature of Kali Yuga. What does the future portend? Kaloyam kim vidasasi. What kind of future is going to come? Now itself things are like this. What will be in the future? Something like that. Then he continues. Na pibanti stanam vasta na duyanti cha matara rudanti ashrumaka gavo na rishanti rishabhavraje.
The cows do not suck the teats of the cows, nor do the cows give milk. They are standing crying, tears in their eyes, and the bulls take no pleasure in the pasturating grounds.
The cows do not drink milk and the cows do not give milk. Today morning, Radhagopinath was talking about that the cows in the cow sheds are profusely releasing the milk. In those days, there are so many cows. After milking the cows, as per their requirement, still the cows had so much milk. The milk is coming out of like water streams from the cow sheds. The entire land is matched by cow milk. And here now what is happening? The calves are not drinking milk and cows are not giving milk. And the cows wail with tearful faces. And the bulls do not enjoy the fields. And they are not able to go for field work. So in that way. Daivataani rudanti va svidyanti hi uchchalanti cha ime janapada grama purodhyana karashrama vrastasriyo nirananda kimagam darshayanti na.
The deities seem to be crying in the temple, lamenting and perspiring. They seem about to leave. All the cities, villages, towns, gardens, mines, and hermitages are now devoid of beauty and bereft of all happiness. I don't know what sort of calamities are now awaiting us.
Yeah. Daivatani refers to the deities in the temples. They seem to be weeping, perspiring, and moving about. They don't want to stay anymore in the temples because nobody is there to take care of them. In that way, that is the indication. The populated areas, villages, towns, gardens, and hermitages are devoid of splendor and bliss. Why are they showing? Why are they showing us such suffering? So, what is the reason for all these misfortune symptoms? Like that, Yudhisthira Maharaj inquiring with Bhima. Then he continues. Manya eter mahotpatair nunam bhagavata padai ananya purusha shribir hina bhur atasaubaga.
I think that all these earthly disturbances indicate some greater loss to the good fortune of the world. The world was fortunate to have been marked with the footprints of the lotus feet of the Lord. These signs indicate that this will no longer be.
So he says that it seems the earth made inauspicious by these ominous signs is devoid of the footsteps of the Lord, endowed with glorious marks not seen in anyone else. If you remember Kunti Maharani's prayers, she said that since because of your presence, since you are walking around Hastinapur, the entire area is bedecked with your footprints.
Yes.
As a result of this, the entire area became prosperous. Yes. When you leave Hastinapur, the Hastinapur will become bereft of your footprints.
Yes.
So Yudhishthira is saying thing. All these inauspicious things are coming on the earth because the earth is no more getting the touch of the footprints of Lord Krishna. As a result of that, earth has become inauspicious. So like that. Indirectly telling that same that Krishna left. So I consider that the earth is devoid of the feet of the Lord, whose marks like the thunderbolt and elephant goad do not exist in other persons. Because the footmarks of Lord Krishna do not exist in other people. Though other people are there, they might be walking on the surface of the earth. But that has no use. If Lord Krishna's footmarks are there on the surface of the earth becomes prosperous. Since earth is missing them and it has become miserable, painful. Iti chintayatastya दृष्टारिष्टेन चेतसा राजना प्रत्यगाम ब्रह्मन् यदुपुर्यं कपिध्वजा.
O Brahmana Saunaka, while Maharaj Yudhisthira, observing the inauspicious signs on earth at that time, was thus thinking to himself, Arjuna came back from the city of the Yadus. Dwarka.
Yeah. Iti chintayastasya drishta arishtena chetasa. As Yudhishthira Maharaj observing all the aristas, all the ill omens, as he was talking to Bhima, Rajna pratya agamad yadupuryam kapidvaja. Kapidvaja indicates Arjuna. Arjuna returned to king. He came back to Yudhishthira Maharaj. O Shaunaka, O Brahmana, while the king was thus contemplating the matter with consideration of the ill omens, Arjuna arrived in Hastinapura. As soon as he came, what did he do? Sampadayor nipatitam ayata purvamaturam adoho vadanam advinna srujantam nayanabjayo vilokyodvigna hrudayo vichayam anujam nripa pruchati sma suhrum madde sasmaran naraderitam.
When he bowed at his feet, the king saw that his dejection was unprecedented. His head was down and tears glided from his lotus eyes. Seeing Arjuna's pale due to heartfelt anxieties, the king, remembering the indications of the sage of Narada, questioned him in the midst of friends.
Seeing the lusterless Arjuna fallen at his feet, grieving like never before, Arjuna came suddenly and fell at the feet of Yudhishthira, started crying only. He's not speaking anything, just started crying. Observing all this, with downcast face and tears flowing from his lotus eyes, with an agitated heart, Yudhishthira, remembering what Narada has said, inquired from Arjuna in the presence of his friends and other assembly members. What did Yudhishthira ask? Yudhishthira uvacha kachit anartha puryamna swajana sukamasate madhu bhoja dasharha satvatandaka vrishnaya.
Maharaj Yudhishthir said, "My dear brother, please tell me whether our friends and relatives, such as Madhu, Bhoj, Dasharha, Arha, Satvata, Andhaka, and the members of the Yadu family, are all passing their days in happiness."
So he is inquiring everyone. Though subconsciously he is understanding that Krishna departed, but still instead of asking that question directly, he is indirectly asking. If Krishna is there, all these people will be happy. So like that he is asking. Are our relatives, the Madhus, Bhoja, Dasharas, Arhas, Shashvatas, Sandakas and Rishnis well in Dwaraka? If they are well means Krishna is there. So then he continues. Shuro Mahatmana Kaschit Swasti Aste Vatamarisha Matula Sanuja Kaschit Kushali Anakadundibhi.
Is my respectable grandfather Surasena in a happy mood? And are my maternal uncle Vasudeva and his younger brothers are all doing well?
Is our respected maternal grandfather Surasena well? Surasena is the father of Vasudeva. So he is asking about his welfare. Are our maternal uncle Vasudeva and his younger brothers are all well? Vasudeva had many other brothers. So he is asking all of them whether they are all fine. So Surasena was the father of Vasudeva and Kunti, combined father. So they were therefore brother and sister. He had 9 other sons and 3 other daughters. Kunti was later adopted by Kunti Bhoja. So Surasena had 10 sons total. Vasudeva plus 9 other sons and Kunti plus 3 other daughters. So 10 sons, 4 daughters. So out of 4 daughters, 1 daughter Kunti was given in adoption to Kunti Bhoja. Later on she became known as Kunti Bhoja. So like that. Big family. So then Yudhisthira Maharaj continues. Saptasvasaras tatpatnyo matulanyasatmaja aste sasnuta kshemam devaki pramukha swayam kachit rajahuko jivati asatputrosya chanuja hridika sasuto kuro jayanta gadasharana
Asate kushalam pashye
ये च शत्रुजिदादया कचिद् आसे सुखं रामो भगवान् सततं प्रभु.
His 7 wives headed by Devaki are all sisters. Are they and their sons and daughters-in-law all happy? Or Ugrasena, whose son was mischievous Kamsa, and his younger brother still living, or Hrudika and his son Kritavarma happy? Or Akrura, Jayanta, Gada, Sarana, and Satrajit all happy? How is Balarama, the personality of Godhead and the protector of devotees?
Yeah. So he's asking that, are our 7 aunts, Vasudeva's wives, who are like sisters, headed by Devaki, and their sons and their wives are well? So Vasudeva actually in total had 17 or 18 wives. Out of them, 8 of them are sisters. Devaki plus her 7 sisters are married Vasudeva together. So the 7 aunts are like 7 younger sisters of Devaki in that sense. And their sons and their wives and their children, are they all happy? How are Ugrasena, evil Kamsa, and his younger brother Devaka? Ugrasena's younger brother is Devaka. How are Rudhika and his son Kritavarma? How are Akrura, Jayanta, Gada, Sharana, etc. etc. All these different people who are all Yadus. Swa Osara means mutual, indicating sisters. His wives were, that means Anakadundipi's wives, Vasudeva's wives were Rohini, Devaki, Upadevi, Urkadevi, Saptami Devi, Shraddha Devi, Shruta, Shrutandara, Jana. These are all their names. These 7 wives, na? The 7 names are there. However, Shraddha Devi was a Vaishya woman. He met her in the forest and married her. However, in the commentary and the first canto, 11th chapter, verse number 1, it is mentioned that Vasudeva actually had 18 wives, which is also confirmed in verse 10, 84, 47. Vasudeva in total had 18 wives, but here only 7 or 8 names are mentioned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 wives names are mentioned. Akrura is, Ahuka is Ugrasena. His evil son was Kamsa, who is already dead. Kamsa was already killed long back. But why is that? He is asking Asat Putro. So why he is asking is, he is asking about Kamsa's soul, not about Kamsa's body. Anyway, he is already dead. He is asking about where is he? Is he okay? Like something like that. Ugrasena's younger brother is Devaka. Krutika's son is Kritavarma. Jayanta, Gada, Sharana, and Shatrujit were brothers. Vasudeva's other sons. Vasudeva had many wives and many children. Sharana and Gada were sons of Vasudeva and Rohini. Sharana and Gada.
How he was asking about Kamsa's soul, because we generally cannot see soul because he may be delivered by Krishna that time only. So generally it is not asked कि अरे आपका relatives का वो soul कैसा है, something like that.
What destiny is obtained by Kamsa?
Okay.
Somehow or other is also family member of
Yadu dynasty.
Yadu dynasty. So like that is asking. So he's asking about all these people because they are all very closely connected. Pandavas and Dwarkavasis are very closely connected family relatives. In that way, he's asking. I kept the next verse separately because here Krishna Balram comes. So we'll read that once again. Asate kushalam kaschit yecha shatrujit adaya kachit aste sukam ramo bhagavan shashvatam prabhu. How are Shatrujit and others? How is Balarama, the Lord of Shashvatas, well? Is Balarama is doing well? And then Pradyumna Sarva Vrishni Nam Sukamaste Maharata Gambhirarayo Aniruddho Vardate Bhagavanuta.
Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Sorry. How is Pradyumna, the great general of the Vrishni family? Is he happy? And is Aniruddha, the plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead, faring well?
So this verse is asking about Pradyumna and Ruddha, who are like the first quarter expansion. Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna. Vasudeva is Krishna, Sankarsana is Balaram, Pradyumna is the son of Krishna, and Ruddha is the son of Pradyumna. So about their welfare is asking. Is Pradyumna, the Maharata among all the Vrishnis, is happy? Is Anuruddha, who is fierce in fighting, prospering? Is faring well? So he is asking about the welfare of Pradyumna and Anuruddha. So these two are very special personalities in that Yadu family because they are direct expansions of Lord Krishna. Of course, whenever required, they display 4 hands. Otherwise, there will be 2 hands only. So Pradyumna and Anuruddha, Sankarsana and Vasudeva, they are like first quadruple expansion who stay in Madura and Dwaraka protecting. So then he continues to ask other personalities in Dwaraka. Sushenascha Sambo Jambavati Suta Anne cha Karshni Pravara Saputra Rushabhadaya Tataivanuchara Shaure Shruta Devodavadaya Sunandananda Shishnaya Echa Neshashvatarshabha Api Swastyaste Sarvai Ramakrishna Bhujashraya Api Smaranti Kushalam Asmakam Baddha Savrudha.
Are all the chieftains son of Lord Krishna, such as Sursena, Charudeshna, Samba, the son of Shambhavati, the Rishabha, along with their sons, all doing well? Also, Shrutadeva, Uddhava, and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls, who are constant companions of Lord, are protected by Lord Balaram and Krishna. Are they all doing well in their respected functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with us, remember our welfare?
So, how are Sushena? Sushena is the son of Satyabhama. And Avi Charudeshna with the son of Rukmini. And Jambavati's son Samba. And other prominent sons of Lord Krishna. And their sons such as Rishabha. How are they? Lord Krishna married 16,108 queens. Through every queen he begot 10 sons and 1 daughter. 11 children. And they all married and they have children like that. So many happened. How are Shrutadeva, Uddhava and other attendants of Krishna? How are the best of the Shashvatas headed by Nanda and Sunanda, protected by the arms of Lord Krishna and Balaram? Do your firm friends think of our welfare? He is asking that how are they? Since you have spent 7 months with them, are they thinking about us? Are they asking about our welfare also? So indirectly he wants to know whether Krishna is still there or not. So like that. Then he kind of comes to inquiring in reality. Bhagavan api Govindo Brahmanyo Bhaktavastala Kachit Pureshu Dharmayam Sukam Aste Surudvrata.
Is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives pleasure to the cows, the senses, and the Brahmanas, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, enjoying the pious assembly at Dwaraka, surrounded by friends.
So after asking about the welfare of all others, now he is coming to ask about Balramji. He asked about Balaram in the previous verse. Now he is asking about Krishna. And he does not ask about Krishna. How is Krishna? Because if asking Krishna, welfare about Krishna is Supreme Lord. What welfare we can ask from him? Even it is also said that when we meet senior devotees, we should not ask them, how are you? We should never inquire from them, how are you? It's just we should say Hare Krishna and they will ask us, how are you? But then we should tell we are good or not. Then they will give us some suggestion, something like that. Whenever we approach some elder to us, in age or in knowledge or anyway, we should never ask them, how are you? That is etiquette. Okay. Anyway, they are elders. They are matured. Who are we to ask how are they or not? So we should ask them, just offer pranams and they will ask us how are we. And we have any problem, we can submit to them. They will give us solution, something like that. He is Lord Govinda, who is kind to the Brahmanas and affectionate to the devotees. Bhagavan api Govinda, Brahmanyo Bhakta Vassala. So Lord Krishna is called as Brahman, Namo Brahmana Devaya and Go Brahmana Itayacha. And is also Bhakta Vassala. Kechit Pure Sudharmayam Sukamase Surudvrata. Is he happily presiding over the Sudharma hall surrounded by his friends in the city? Instead of directly asking whether he is happy, he is asking that the Lord who is the take care of the Brahmanas and the devotees, happily presiding over the Sudharma assembly at the shining moon among the stars, something like that. So indirectly is asking. It is not proper at all to ask if Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is happy. Therefore, he asks, is he happy in the assembly hall in Dwaraka? If he is happy in the assembly hall of Dwaraka, in the midst of everyone, that means he is happy, obviously. So, in that way. Prabhupada explains about this. We should never bring the Supreme Lord to our level and deal with him like a casual way. Lord is Lord only. So, we should always treat him with awe and veneration. So, something like that. Yudhisthira Maharaj is following that point, that etiquette. He is not overcrossing that etiquette. Even though he is elder in age, but still he is maintaining that etiquette. Prabhupada talks about various qualities and activities of Lord Krishna. He specifically talks about Go Brahmana Itayacha. That mantra we recite when we offer Bhoga. Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Itayacha. How Lord Krishna is Go Brahmana Itaya and Jagaditaya, like that. All those points are explained in this purport. Then Yudhisthira Maharaj continues. Mangalaya cha lokanam kshemaya cha bhavaya cha aste dukulam bodhav adyo ananta sakapuman yad bahudanda guptayam swapuryam yadavorchita kridanti paramanandam mahapaurushika iva.
The original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, and Balarama, the primal level Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky.
So here he gives a comparison with Vaikuntha vis-a-vis Dwarka. He is the first person, Adyopuman, Lord Krishna, with the help of Balarama, residing happily in the ocean of the Yadu family, the entire Yadu family like a big ocean. In the midst of that, Krishna and Balarama are staying. For giving prema, Mangalaya means for giving prema, and Kshemaya means for giving liberation, and Bhavaya means for giving prosperity to the people. Lord appears in order to give Mangala, Kshema, and Bhava. Mangala is Krishna Prema, and Kshema means auspiciousness or liberation, and finally Bhavaya means prosperity. The Yadavas, worshipped even by the Devatas, play like the inhabitants of Vaikuntha in their city, which is protected by Lord Krishna's strong arms. Yad Bahu Danda Guttayam Swapuryam Yadavo Archita. Kridanti Paramanandam Mahapaurushika Iva. Just like in Vaikuntha, all the Vaikuntha Vasis, they play without any fear. Same way, being protected by Lord Krishna and Lord Balramji, the Dwaraka Vasis always enjoy without any worry of anybody coming to attack them or causing trouble, etc. etc. So, in that way. Mangalaya means for giving prema. The Supreme Lord appears to give prema. And the Supreme Lord also appears to give liberation. And the Supreme Lord also appears to give material prosperity. Ananta Saka means with the help of Lord Balarama. Ananta Saka. Saka is friend. Ananta is Lord Balarama. They are worshipped even by the Devatas. Mahapaurishika Iva means like the followers of the Lord of Vaikunta. Or it can mean like the conquerors with great powers. So the Dwarakavasis are enjoying in the company of Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna and Balarama are protecting Dwaraka very nicely, without any doubt, without any fear. They are very happy in Dwaraka, as if Vaikunta Vasis are happy in the Vaikunta. So this is the situation. So Dwaraka Vasis will only be happy if Krishna is there. He is asking that how are the Dwaraka Vasis are enjoying? That means indirectly the answer will be Krishna is there, so they are enjoying. They are enjoying means Krishna is there. He is not asking directly about Krishna is there or not. So indirectly he is asking. He continues. यत्पादशुश्रूषणमुख्यकर्मणा सत्यादयो द्व्यष्टसहस्रयोषिता निर्जित्य सङ्के त्रिदशां तदाशिषो हरन्ति वज्रायुधवल्लभोचिता.
Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is most important of all services, the queens at Dwaraka, headed by Satyabhama, induced the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus, the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of the thunderbolts.
So here, in a couple of verses, Lord Krishna's activities in relation to the queens and in relation to Devatas are explained. Satyabhama and other 16,000 queens, by serving his feet as their main activity, defeated in battle the Devatas and took the Parijata tree, which was being enjoyed by Indra's wife Sachi. The Parijata tree, which is there in heaven, which is meant for the enjoyment of the heavenly beings, but for the pleasure of Satyabhama and other queens, Lord Krishna, after defeating Indra, brought that Parijata tree to the Dwaraka. And later on, that Parijata tree began to grow in the every palace of every queen. And that Krishna, in the presence of that Krishna, are those queens are happy? The queens will be happy only if Krishna is there. So like that. For whose pleasure Lord Krishna defeated Indra and brought the Parijata tree from the heaven to the earth, are the queens are happy? Like that Yudhisthira Maharaj is asking. Defeating the Devatas means defeating through the strength of Lord Krishna. Tadashya means Parijata and other things. Vajrayudha Vallabha is Sachi. It is actually a funny incident when it is Indra sends Narada Muni telling that, oh, my dear sir, so like Narada Muni tells Krishna that, so Varuna's umbrella and the Aditi's kundal and many other things belonging to Devatas were stolen by Narakasura. So please do the needful. Then Krishna takes Satyabhama along with him, goes to Yudhisthira, defeats Narakasura, kills him, defeats Mura, kills Mura, and taking all those belongings of Devatas, goes to heaven, presents it to them to everyone. And while returning, Satyabhama, previously, Narada Muni gave one Parijata flower to Krishna in the assembly of Rukmini. So Krishna gave it to Rukmini because it was happening in the Rukmini's assembly. So he gave it to Rukmini. The news went to Satyabhama. That time Satyabhama said that you only love Rukmini, not me, something like that. So in order to please her, this time Krishna takes her to, then he takes her to the Parijata garden also, the Parijata flower garden. And Satyabhama says that let us have, he tells that take a flower, whichever flower you want. He says that no, I don't want flower, I want a tree in my courtyard. Then okay, let us take. So she took the, Lord Krishna plucked out the Parijata tree. Sachi Devi became angry. This Parijata tree meant for my enjoyment. How can she will take? So between two Matajis. So then she instigated Indra, please stop them. Indra said, what is this? How can I stop? He is Krishna, is Supreme Lord, I cannot stop. Then she said, you stop him or not? If you don't stop him, that's all, he will have no future. So then you have to listen to Sachi Devi, and he went and requested Krishna, stop. Please, you don't take that, it belongs to heaven. And Krishna says, no, I am not taking, Satyabhama is taking. So if you want to take it, you have to defeat me. Then there is a fight and Krishna easily defeats Indra. And Indra tells Satyabhama, see, I told you, we cannot stand in front of him. So allow him to take it. So Krishna took that Parijata tree and first he planted that Parijata tree in the courtyard of Satyabhama. Eventually when the new flowers came, new seeds came, so eventually every palace had Parijata tree. So in the tree. So every queen had that. Previously only Rukmini had one flower, but now everyone had one Parijata tree in their entire palaces. So that is what. So then one more such kind of incident. Yad bahudanda abhyudaya nu jivino yadu praviraya kuto bhayamuhu adikramanta guneyo viharitam balat sabam sudharma surasa chitam.
The great heroes of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect, and therefore their feet tremble over the Sudharma assembly house, which the best demigods deserved, but which was taken away from them.
The fearless Yadu heroes, protected by the strength of his arms, constantly tread with their feet over the Sudharma assembly hall, which was taken by force, even though the Devatas deserved it. Devatas assembly hall, Indra's assembly is there, na? Much superior to that was Sudharma assembly. And it was taken by the Yadus by force from the Devatas. The Sudharma hall is supposed to be meant for the Devatas to live in, walk by. But now, by the strength of Krishna, Sudharma hall brought from the heaven to the earth, and they are enjoying it. So are they continue to enjoy in Sudharma hall? They only continue to enjoy if the Krishna is there next to them. Otherwise, they will not enjoy. So in that way, this is another pastime in relation to the Yadus. One is in relation to the ladies, which Parijata tree was brought from heaven. In relation to the gents, the Sudharma assembly hall also brought from the heaven, from the Devaloka. So are they faring well in the Sudharma assembly, enjoying in the company of Krishna? So like that. So only as long as Krishna is there, everyone can be happy in Dwaraka or anywhere. If Krishna is not there, no one can be happy. So even later on, in the when Vidura also hears that in Prabhas, when Vidura hears that Krishna left, Yadus left, when he met Uddhava in Vrindavan, on the bank of Yamuna, that time he also asked same question. The same questions what Yudhisthira is asking, Uddhava was also asked by Vidura same questions. Are the Yadus faring well? Everyone is nice, happy, etc. etc. So for which Uddhava gives one nice answer. I'll just don't remember the full sloka, but this is a wonderful sloka. Krishna Dyumani Nimloche Girneshu Ajagarenaha Kimnuna Kushalam Bruyam Gata Srishu Gat Greshaham Krishna Dyumani Nimloche Girneshu Ajagarenaha. Have you anyone experienced full eclipse here in Mumbai? Anyone wherever in your entire till now ever saw full eclipse? How it was? How it was during the eclipse?
Almost dark. Just for a second.
Just
I
for a
was in
second.
my native place. I was not allowed to go, but from the glass, I can see it totally dark. Something around 40 years.
So it's like that. Here is giving a comparison like that. The sun of Krishna set. When even throughout the day we have sunlight. When sun sets, everything is dark. The sun of Krishna is set. Okay. Krishna Dyumani Nimloche. The sunlight Krishna Dyumani means that which bright shine forth. Krishna Dyumani Nimloche. The sun of set is invisible. Nimloche means setting. It becomes invisible. Girneshu Ajagarenaha. As if swallowed by Ajaga. Ajaga refers to a python. If a python swallows a sun, where is the brightness? There will be nowhere the brightness. Kimnuna Kushalam Bruya Gata Srishu Guruesham. When Krishna, who is Dyumani, he is swallowed by the Ajaga, that's python. What Kushalam you are asking about? What husbands you are asking about as Yadus? Only Krishna is there. Yadus are happy. If Krishna is swallowed by Ajaga, So what auspicious will be there for the Yadus? No one will be happy. So in that way. Kimnuna Kushalam Durya, why are you asking about the welfare of the Yadus? Gatas Rishu Graheshaham, as if eclipsed by a Graha, everything has become dark. In darkness, what good you can expect? Something like that. So that is the situation in Dwarka. Krishna is their life. Krishna is their soul. If Krishna is not there, they are not there. So there is no point asking about their welfare when Krishna is not there personally. So in that way. So what is the time now? I think we'll close here. The next 6 verses are different set of queries. There is going to ask about Arjuna, about whether Arjuna is okay. Till now he's asking about the Dwaraka Vasis, ending with Krishna and Balram. Now he's going to ask about Arjuna himself is okay, why he is lamenting so much, crying and without saying anything and putting head down, and so many things are happening. That we will discuss next week and continue with the response of Arjuna in the next chapter. Hare Krishna, devotees online, any questions till now?
No, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Able to follow what we are discussing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This chapter is full of
Congratulations,
sorrow.
Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Congratulations for your Prabhuji. Congratulations for your new book, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, thank you.
Congrats for the new book.